So according to the streaming channel, there seems to have been an issue with our connection on LinkedIn Live. So right now I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. And for those who are watching on LinkedIn, you're likely watching the replay. Greatly apologize for that. And hopefully the tech will be fixed somehow, some way. But still wanted to ensure that I showed up on time here for you tonight for our special episode, The Introvert's Way of Getting Clients. That's what we'll be talking about here this evening in this lovely episode. So do introverts succeed in business? Absolutely, right? There are many examples. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, many different examples of introverts who have succeeded in business and still do to this day. But it's not the same way that extroverts do. And you probably, if you are an introvert watching this, you probably have felt that. Given your experiences thus far in your sales and your marketing, you're saying to yourself, maybe you feel terrible whenever you do something with your marketing or whenever you do something with your sales, right? And you probably think to yourself, Vanessa, how do you know? You're on live every week. How do you know? You're speaking on stages. How do you know? Well, fun fact, I'm actually an introvert. Now I have to think of another answer to that question of what are fun facts. But ultimately, yes, I am an introvert. Yet everyone thinks I'm an extrovert. And how? Because I trained myself to appear as such. And this is essentially what I had to do many years ago when I was going into corporate. I had to do. It's a choice that I made. Not that I had to do, but it's a choice that I made back when I was entering into the corporate America sphere. And I was sort of saying, okay, I'm gonna go into business. It looks like you got to network and be out there and all that jazz. And so I trained myself to be an extrovert. And I succeeded at it, clearly. But ultimately, when I chose to then become and be my own boss and to have my own business and start my own business and grow my own business, I decided it was time for me to do business my way. Ultimately, that's really what happened, right? So this choice, essentially, I made the choice to do business my way. And more on this later in terms of the introvert's way to getting clients. But before we get into that detail, I know some of you are likely new. So first off, welcome to this evening's episode of Entrepreneurship is a Marathon. We are live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Except this evening, it seems like there was some connection thing that happened with LinkedIn, and we are not live there tonight. And so I'll be putting up the replay later on. But with that being said, my name is Vanessa Zami, and I'm the business defibrillator. My clients call me that because I help bring life back to them and their business. Specifically, I consult entrepreneurs and small business owners on how to revive, how to grow, and how to scale their business without burnout, without sleep deprivation, and without overwhelm. And occasionally, every now and again, I get introverts, and I also get extroverts. Actually, I think about 90% of my clients are actually introverts, and a small percentage of them are also extroverts. And ultimately, why do I attract them? Because, they say in the sort of service-based business world, most of your clients are pretty much like you. With that being said, though, what has been, before we get into more about the introvert's way to getting clients, as always, in every episode, I go into what has been your win of the week? What has been your win of the week? So I want you to comment here below. If you're watching on YouTube, then type it in the chat. If you're watching on Facebook, comment below. If you're watching a replay on LinkedIn, then also comment to the right of your screen. Or if you're watching on mobile, might be a scroll. But ultimately, what has been your win of the week? And the reason why I always do this in every episode is because ultimately, entrepreneurship is a marathon, right? Title of the show. Because what it is true. Entrepreneurship is a marathon. And it's very easy to say, okay, I want to get to the finish line. I have this vision of the finish line. You know where you're trying to go. You know the life you're trying to live. Maybe you've done vision boards. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've done goals. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've dreamt about it every single night, where you want to go, how you want to be, and what you want your family and friends to be as well too. And you dreamt about that. So you had the finish line in mind, but getting from that start to finish is a marathon, right? And what that means is you have to pace yourself, set yourself up for success, etc. And the reason why I go into wins at every episode is for you to take the time to acknowledge and celebrate your wins. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, looking to do many different things because you're ultimately trying to grow a business and scale, and the to-do list is never going to get any shorter, really. But ultimately, you're trying to live out this vision. Chances are you might be looking to feel like any of my clients, my changemaker clients, you may be looking to also build an empire and pass something down from generation to generation. But with that being said, it can be very easy to get caught up in all the things. And so the reason why we take the time to celebrate wins, or even if it's just one win, is for you to take the time to say, I may not be at that finish line, but I made it to mile 2, right? And to acknowledge and sit in that. And it seems so small, but it makes such a difference. So what has been your win of the week? Either type below in the comments, or if you are watching, here, if you're listening via the podcast, perhaps, you're welcome to email us your win as well. By all means, share with us your win. Let's celebrate. And so what has been your win of the week, right? And for me, my win and when I say week, the past 7 days. And so let's say maybe you're listening to this on a Monday or a Friday or a Wednesday or a Sunday. But past 7 days, what has been a win that you would like to celebrate? What is something that you're proud of that happened? A connection, a moment, an experience, a milestone in the team. Maybe you organize your files. That's a win, right? I was hosting my Change Makers Mastermind last night, and we do it every single month where we come together and a group of us come together, and we talk about ways for them to grow in their business and ways to succeed. This is essentially in addition to the one-on-ones that they receive as well too with me. But ultimately, some people mentioned some examples for you here, right? Someone mentioned they started doing this new sort of investing program, and they were able to, well, first they started out saying, well, I was able to help 3 students. They're like, no, it was 4. No, actually it was 5. Right. And why did she go from 3 to 4 to 5? Because in now taking the time to celebrate that win, she then remembered what the win actually was. Right. So maybe you launched something new and you got 1, 2, or 3 people. Right. Perhaps one of the other clients, she was able to actually read her book and do a book reading in front of an audience of 600 people. Right. Another client, she celebrated the fact that she realized that through the work that we did, that all the clarity that she had received. She realized that when she was applying for funding this week versus when she was applying for funding a year ago during the same time, she was just so much more clearer today, right? This week, she was just so much more clearer and just appreciated the step that she took, and even looking to invest in consulting to even get to the point 6 months later where she can then say how much clearer she was or is essentially today. And so what has been your win of the week? It might be connection. It might be an acknowledgement of the change that you've gone through development, but what has been your win of the week? My win was that last week, essentially, I received the email. It was an invite to speak at a conference, a upcoming, essentially, conference summit. They had a speaker who actually wasn't able to make it, last minute change. And I had never actually heard of the summit before. And so I don't know where they got my name from, but the win is that ultimately, for me, the win was that I never heard of the person or the co-chair of the summit before, but honestly, they heard about me from somewhere. And so just the win in either, whether it be networking, but the marketing efforts that we're doing to really spread the message of being able to grow your business without burnout, overwhelm, sleep deprivation. And so they essentially reached out to me to do my signature talk on get stuff done, how to avoid burnout, find the time to do it all, and balance all the hacks in between. And so that was just great to get that ability and opportunity, right, to really get that conversation going, to speak for this conference of over 200 ideal clients, women business owners. And so, say one woman's trash, another woman's treasure, hey, that person wasn't able to make it, by all means, feel free to hit me up. Let's see if I'm available, right? And when the stars align, they align. So that's been my win of the week, and sitting in that moment as well, too, and celebrating with my team, too. We do weekly check-ins as well. But what has been your win of the week? Type in the comments or put it in the chat below. With that being said, let's get into our episode, The Introvert's Way to Getting Clients. So as I mentioned, you may be in a position in your business and life, and what your past experiences have been. You now have your own business. And maybe you're still doing your business on the side of a day job or on the side of parenting, on the side of many different things that you're doing, but you still have your business. And so, and part of a business is you're trying to get clients and customers. You're trying to get people to buy your service. And what I always tell my clients and even share with my students in the college course I teach, marketing and sales, right? But marketing is the process through which you're trying to get a stranger who knows nothing about you to eventually one day buy from you, right? And when they eventually buy from you, they become a client or customer. But before then is a whole marketing process as well too. Now, as a service-based business, there's even more things. We'll get into that in a couple minutes. But first, I want to say, what is the first thing? The first way to getting clients, right? As an introvert, take a break after your meetings. Take a break after your meetings. What I say is that networking is, when I say networking, think of it more as building relationships, right? And also, before I even let me take a step back, pause, wait a second. Introversion. Looking at my notes, I'm like, wait a second. When I say introversion, what I mean is that you are that everyone knows at this point, but maybe you don't. So when I say introversion, right, what do I mean? When I refer to introversion, it's essentially the way that you get energy, right? And so the way that you are fueled when you're out in society, right? And so are you fueled by, do you get re-energized by, talking to people and being around people and just being around all that? Or are you more so fueled by taking a moment of self-reflection and being introspective and just like taking a breather, etc. Right? And so that's what I mean by introversion versus extroversion. And we all are, specific tendency to go one way or the other. But no matter what, essentially this episode here is for the introverts. So the introvert's way to getting clients. So what I found to be most successful for me and helpful for me, and what I also found my clients who are the introverts type essentially is, one, take a break after meetings. So what that means is that building relationships is just necessary in business. It just is. And so because ultimately you're not gonna grow alone. Your business is not gonna be built alone. It's not gonna be grown. It's not gonna grow alone. It's not gonna scale on its own. It's going to grow and scale through partnerships, through collaborations, through relationships with other people. Essentially, ultimately, that's what it comes down to. That's how your business is going to grow. Yes, you're going to put obviously your own efforts into it, but your business is also going to grow through your efforts, through relationships, not just relationships with prospects, relationships with leads, not just relationships with clients and existing clients and customers or potential clients and customers, relationships with business partners, potential business colleagues, potential sourcing partners, or whatever business you may have. But essentially, you are building up relationships in some shape or fashion. And you may find yourself in meetings a lot. And even if you're a service-based business or a product-based business, you may find yourself in meetings, or not even just discussions, whether it be a message discussion or a face-to-face discussion or a Zoom discussion, some sort of screen share discussion, whatever it may be, but you're in spaces and environments where you're talking to people. And you may say to yourself, oh my God, I hate, I don't want to be in this situation. But perhaps you're like, but it's needed so I can put my business out there and put the messaging out there to grow my business. So great. Yes, you make it happen, but how do you make it work for you? Take a break after meetings, schedule a break after meetings. Now, the thing is that for different people, it's going to be a different cycle. So you might be able to go a whole day of meetings, and then the next day you take a whole day off. For you, it might be that you can only really do, maybe at this stage of your networking or building relationships process, you're like, okay, I can do one group networking call. And then after that, you need to take a 3-hour break. And then you can do another one. You need to take a 3-hour break, right? And so it's going to be a matter of finding a rhythm that works for you, but understanding that you definitely need to find a rhythm. And so if you're out here trying to, okay, I need to fill up my calendar every single day. I need to talk to people every day because otherwise it's going to be terrible. I need to be all these group calls every single day for like 5 days a week. And oh my gosh, if I don't, then right? Then you're just making your business building process and growth process stressful. And that's going to lead to you resenting the actual business in the process, which is then eventually going to lead to you not actually working on the process. And then that may be you right now. Perhaps you've already been through that process where you just resented your business and how you were doing your marketing. You're just like, oh, must I again? And really think about what was happening around that time. What were the actions and activities you were doing during that time to make you then start to resent your business, right? And so that's more so a marketing tip for you, right? Being sure and being comfortable with taking that break in between meetings, right? Whether it be group meeting or one-on-one meetings, but taking that break. And then the second thing more so relates to your sales. So within your sales process, so for me, when I went into, I remember when I first, I went to sales as a business, and it was like, oh, I have to, the things that I was trained, the way that I was trained, / the way that I was told and taught, because I was, participating in business coaching group programs, so to speak, as well to elevate my business skills for my own business, because we're not all perfect. And the way that I was taught within the sales was like, oh yeah, you just got to keep on pushing. And it was very much like a used car salesman, right? But it was like flowered in the words called heart center. The people I was being taught by was still doing it the used car salesman way. And so that ended up in the end, and I was doing it that way, I then resented the sales process, right? And then when I resented the sales process, what happened? I stopped wanting to do consults. I was like, oh, I don't want to talk to people. I just stopped essentially trying to do everything in my power to not have consults on my calendar, because having consults on my calendar, I had to go through the process that I didn't want to go through, because for me, the way that I was being taught sales wasn't the right way. Wasn't the right way for me, at least. And so what I then ended up doing and learning was I went through all these different sales things, and I ended up learning a new way for myself that made me more comfortable in how to do sales, right? And how to think about sales and thinking of sales as an opportunity, as a heart-centered way, all this other stuff. But ultimately, the way I'm going to tell you right now as introvert getting clients, what it comes down to is understanding that, marketing and sales, it's definitely necessary in business. They are the two most important parts of a business. Hands down. Marketing and sales are the two most important parts of a business, but you don't have to do it the way that everyone else is doing it. And so finding the way that works for you. And it might be, such as an introvert, you may find that what works for you, right, could be what works for me. And so for me, it's very much the approach that I take to sales is that people will schedule consults. Great, awesome. And I just learn information about them, right? And for me, I'm not putting as much onus on, I need to close this sale. Every single call, I must make a sale. I think of it more so that person now knows about me and they have the freedom to decide if and or when they want to work with me. And I'm happy to follow up. That's my skill set. I love following up. And why is my following up my skill set? It might also be your skill set as well too as an introvert. Because I just like knowing people's stories. I like helping them. I love, being able to, get updates on what people are up to. And I actually go through my day and I'll say, that person? What happened to that person I was talking to, the business owner? Oh, and then I'll look them up and I'll be like, oh yeah. And I'll see what's happening in their life. And I actually am genuinely curious to know what's happening in people's lives. Because I also actually want to get to the story and get to understanding, what is going on. Whereas, and you'll find that even in your discussion that you have with people as an introvert, your best asset is how you have conversations, right? Your active listening skills, which active listening skills would come from your actual hyper awareness of caring and wanting to really get deep into a situation, understand like the roots of what someone is experiencing or how they got to where they were, which actually will also be able to help you in having meaningful discussions and having meaningful relationships, which then helps you with networking, which then helps you with growing and scaling your business as well. And so it's all a connection point, but knowing that your best asset is your ability, it's your introversion, honestly. Your best asset is your introversion. And so don't shy away from that. Don't shy away from, needing to take a break in between group calls, or maybe it's like you have one day on where you're just like meetings all day. And the next day you're just like, we're just gonna do some emails and maybe watch a show, whatever it may be, but you're taking that break that you need. And not because of a, you're burned out break, but it's definitely more so a intentional break of, I have all these meetings. I need, 3 hours in between meetings, or, I need a whole day in between meetings, whatever works for you, finding that rhythm for yourself. And then as you have discussions with people, tapping into your active listening, tapping into your ability and your curiosity, your natural curiosity to actually want to know what's happening in people's lives. It's actually want to get to the bottom of the problem to help them out, right? And so some more tips though on how setting your business strategy in a way that works for you really benefits you and how to do right now business strategy for your marketing and sales, then I invite you to join us in my masterclass happening next Tuesday. So you're all going to sign up at yourbusinessrevival.com. That's yourbusinessrevival.com. And what we'll go through in that class is really understanding, going through the framework and process that I work with my clients, really understand what is the best marketing and sales and business strategy that's going to work for you and your business, right? That really hones in on your best skill sets, your personality, your vision. And it doesn't matter whether you are actually this class is mainly for existing business owners. And so whether you've launched a month ago or you've launched a decade ago, but if you have launched and if you are an existing business, this is a class for you. And so looking at how can you pivot and ensure that your business is not one that you resent, right? Ensure that your business is not one that you're just, you're just like waking up like, oh, I don't want to do this. Not today, right? How are you ensuring that you are putting yourself and your business in a place that works best for you and your business, that works best for you and your life, so that you are able to and you want to show up each day and each hour for your business. And so if you're looking for more tips on setting your business strategy, marketing strategy, sales strategy in a way that works for you and your business, then I invite you to join us next Tuesday for my upcoming masterclass, yourbusinessrevival.com. It happens on a Tuesday evenings. So you're welcome to join us on how to grow a driven business without burnout, sleep deprivation, and overwhelm. Yourbusinessrevival.com. And I'll put the link here's on the screen, at the bottom here. And for those who are watching, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see in the description. If you're watching on the LinkedIn or Facebook, you'll see in the comments as well. And for those who are able to watch us live on LinkedIn, apologies again. We'll see, and hopefully this doesn't happen again next Tuesday. We'll connection and fix that so this doesn't happen again. With that, well, if we're able to control it, something you just can't control. With that being said, though, have a beautiful evening and see you next Tuesday live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for Entrepreneurship is a Marathon at 9 p.m. Eastern. Or if you love listening on the podcast, catch you for our next episode next Wednesday morning. Chat soon.